How to create the biggest stars on earth. Tems is a Grammy Award-winning Nigerian singer-songwriter and record producer, a groundbreaking global phenomenon with over 90 award nominations. Tems has many wins, including 2 Grammys, 4 BET Awards, and 4 NACP Image Awards. As the first African woman to notch 5 Billboard hits, she's amassed over 5 billion streams worldwide across all platforms and 300 million YouTube views. Yvette Gale is the CEO and Head of Communications and Engagement for Africa Creative Agency, a Pan-African talent management firm with offices in Los Angeles, Kenya, and South Africa. Gale's notable successes include launching the Jam Africa stage at the 2019 Essence Music Festival in New Orleans, where she showcased Africa's biggest music clientele. Amanda Akokia is an award-winning fashion and beauty photographer based in London, UK. She's the owner of Green Studios and has over 11 years of experience in the field. Her experience encapsulates fashion, editorials, beauty shots, brand campaigns, and much more. Her work with Disney, BBC, Warner Brothers, Pantene, and top international celebrities has positioned her as a leader in her field. Zozibini Tunzi is a South African model, actress, and Miss Universe 2019. She became a linchpin to any conversation around the decolonization of beauty standards when she was crowned Miss South Africa. Delighting the world months later, she walked off with the Miss Universe title, encouraging women and girls everywhere to show up as their full selves. Now she's a global advocate for women's rights and features in campaigns and major projects that exalt and celebrate Black women. Giyaki is a renowned Ghanaian R&B and Afrofusion singer whose captivating sound has earned her global recognition. With her powerful voice and unique blend of contemporary African rhythms, Giyaki has become a trailblazer in the music industry. Her rise to prominence is a testament to her talent, resilience, and commitment to creating music that transcends borders. The moderator is Chanel Retief, multimedia journalist at Forbes Africa.
What a panel. Can we please give a round of applause? This one is for all my creatives, content creators, aspiring Grammy Award-winning artists, soon-to-be title holders, and cover stars in the making. This panel is for you.
Right now, I think it's cool to be African. I think before it was like, oh, right. But now it's like, you're from, I have ties as well. I visited this place too. It's now something that is a conversation starter. It's something that is cool to be. It's something that, people want to be a part of. And I think that's what gives me joy. Like that it's getting to a level where it's being respected, in terms of the creativity and the art. I think it's very important to study certain things. And number one, I've always been a fan of sports. It's just that I'm a woman. So, I feel like I'm not like what like the football fanatic is going to say, oh, wow, she's really into it. But I was at some point because my brother was. And I believe in empowering people in any kind of way. They have this initiative called the Right to Dream. They have an institution where they kind of train children from Africa to become footballers. And I really, really love that. And when I went to see the team, see the stadium, um, it's just really such an obvious buy-in. Like I was sold, like from the first time that I visited that, that place. And I also, I think it's important for women to diversify the things that they do to grow their companies or their empires. I feel like investing is something that women do, but not a lot of women really have knowledge about. And I also think that by me, going now into the investment realm and putting my money in different things, it could also maybe open eyes for women to be like, actually, I don't always need to, like, there's different ways to diversify your income, and you might find that you might actually like a lot of things that you probably didn't think about before. I think there's so many talents in Africa that are doing wonders, and it makes me feel really, really happy, really blessed that, Africa is not in hiding, and there's just so much talent and that is being discovered every single day. And I just really believe that, we can truly impact the world.
I want to start off with all four of you ladies. Thank you so much for being here. Looking at, the stars that you have created or become, what does it take to become that star, and what does stardom mean to you when you think about it? We'll start with you, Yvette.
What it takes to create a star. I think it begins with talent first, but talent doesn't get you all the way there. I think you have to have the perseverance, you have to learn how to adapt, you have to have vision, you have to have a great team that understands your vision and is able to execute that vision. And I think stardom, to me, means, everyone has the buzzword authenticity. You must be authentic, but you must figure out how to make that authenticity translate to the rest of the world. How do you get your story and your particular line across the line and over? That's if you want to be a global star. You have to figure out how to translate it into a global language. And I think that is the biggest and hardest challenge to do.
Well, we'll come back to the global star conversation because there's a lot to unpack with you. But Miss Amanda, what do you think stardom means, and what does that bring, from the African perspective?
Yeah, for me, what it takes to create a star is really understanding who that person is, understanding their story, really seeing them for who they are, and me as a photographer being able to capture that, to capture their story, to capture their essence, and to capture them in the best light possible. For me, that's what it takes to create a star.
Ms. Gaiki?
Yes, I would say everything starts from within. The moment you know what you want and what you want to start and what you want to achieve, everything that comes with it is the force and what you put behind it, and it will always be very smooth if you go through that line. Yes.
Zozi, you're one that, as Yvette has said, there's authenticity, and your star literally started with you highlighting why authenticity is so important.
Yeah.
Can you speak to us about why what it means, what stardom means to you?
Sure. Stardom has changed, I think, as times have changed. I think we've looked at superstars from afar from a very long time as people who are detached from who we are, and we've never shared anything that they have. And I think as time goes by, stars have become a part of us, and that's the authenticity that we speak about, in that they feel more real and human. And I love that we have come to humanize superstardom just a little bit. I mean, it is nice to have a little mystery, because I feel like with social media and media, we can be overexposed as well, which does take away the little bit of stardom. And so I think stardom is a balance between being a human being and still being able to keep a little bit of mystery as well, so that people can keep coming back to bite a little and see what it is that you still have.
Yeah.
Yvette, I want to bring it back to you. I mean, you've created quite literally the biggest stars. And just to throw it in there, I mean, two of your biggest made our under 30 list last year. Not only the list, but the cover. I'm speaking about Tyler and Amatamata.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges that you face in introducing African talent to the global audience? And how do you overcome that?
I think the biggest challenge is getting people to open up their minds and not be so set in what they feel representation looks like, right? Getting over the stereotypes of Africa, you know, lumping everyone into one box, music, you know, per se, because this year we had a lot of situations where the West kept putting all of African music under Afrobeats and not understanding that there are multiple genres, quite a many. And so sometimes it's educating those that are not here, but as the world opens up and looks, it gets much easier. You know, I think I moved to this continent to prove that the talent on this continent can compete globally. And very happy to say that, thankfully, it is actually coming to fruition.
I mean, I'm going to take it over to you, Gaiki, because that's a good segue. Yeah. I mean, you are someone who is actively in the music industry, and you have done the genre of Afrofusion, and not a lot of people understand what Afrofusion is. Yeah. Is it ever frustrating in hearing what Yvette is saying, to Yvette's point, that everything is boxed into one genre?
You'd have to say that again, please.
No problem. Is it ever frustrating when people, you know, for award ceremonies, box multiple African genres into one genre of Afrobeats?
Right. So when I actually started, I didn't have the genre Afrofusion in mind until I actually got to realize that I'm somebody that is really good in all the fields. Big shouts to God. So I'm able to tap into R&B, I'm able to tap into hip-hop, drill, Afrobeat, everything I'm able to tap in. So I took a step back and I looked at it and I was like, okay, that means I can actually fuse all these sounds and still be able to speak to my audience the way that I want to. And it also means that I'm going to be on the parts where I am going to have an advantage, because now if anybody loves R&B, they are going to love Jackie music. If you love hip-hop, you're going to love Jackie music. Every genre I've been able to tap into, and it's been able to give me like a wider audience. Do you understand? If you limit yourself to one particular genre, you might have like a particular market, but the fact that I'm able to do all these genres and put it together, I'm always able to have that advantage to myself. It hasn't been really easy, because sometimes it means you also have to broaden your listening and your knowledge when it comes to all these sounds. And that is one thing that I'm still like learning, and then trying so hard to make sure that this is the legacy that I'm going to leave behind.
Miss Amanda, I want to shoot it over to you. Looking at, you know, you've been celebrated as a visionary in photography, especially in the beauty and fashion industry. When you think about, you know, these covers and these spreads that you are creating, I mean, I can speak for myself. When the team and I are working in creating all of these things, there's a lot of work that goes into it. But how important is it, you know, visually, to create a theme and to create some sort of, you know, a style guide that allows for stars to shine as they should on covers?
Yeah, it's really important to create a theme and a style guide, and to create a theme as well that the whole team understands. Once you create that theme, the makeup artist, the hairstylist, the wardrobe stylist, every single person on the production team needs to know what that is. And you know, it's really important for me to effectively to shoot that as well. As I said before, to me, a powerful image is one that tells a story, a story that we can all connect to universally, so that when people see that image, and even in 50 years or in 100 years, it stands the test of time, because whatever is portrayed in that image, whether it be through like an emotion or whatever it is, we can still relate to it as human beings in time, like in the future. So yeah.
Sorry, I suppose this question then goes for you and Zozi then, because Zozi, when you won in 2019, when you won Miss Universe in 2019, you quite literally, set the tone for how we need to start breaking down these beauty stereotypes that people have, especially when it comes to the creative economy. I think both of you have a lot of visuals, play a huge part in that, right? But what misconceptions do you think globally people have about African talent and African stars, both from, a pageantry and model perspective and from a magazine perspective? We can start with Zozi.
The biggest misconceptions people have. There's so many misconceptions, and I think a lot of us have probably bumped into them. Yeah. But I would also like to say to the world, welcome to Africa. You are quite late. We have been in this business. Yes, absolutely. I like to call Africa the blueprint, where things originate and exist, and I feel like the outside world does come inside to drink in the waters of creativity and life. And so I think day by day, as we're going to social media, people are starting to open their eyes into what Africa is, what African talent is, with the likes of Tyler, who's faced some challenges that we've seen right before our eyes, of just being misconstrued and who she is, about her culture, about what she stands for. And there are a lot of misconceptions, but at the same time, I feel like we are going forward because of social media, because of stars that are exposing who we are. I mean, when I first came out in 2019, 2020, a lot of people were shocked by the way that I spoke, the kind of knowledge that I possessed. Like, oh my God, is this how? I'm like, we have 11 official languages, English being one of them. And we are one of the most learned people in the world. We take education very seriously. And there's just so much that we have to offer. And I feel like the world is finally catching up.
I'm going to shoot it back to you, Amanda. What misconceptions do you think the world has about African talent, especially as someone who is behind the scenes and is predominantly shooting talent every day?
Yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions that people have about African talent. But in terms of photography, I think it's really important for people to know that, I'm going to talk about in terms of retouching, because I'm a photographer. Less is more. We don't have to do so much to make them behind the scenes make them look perfect and just edit and airbrush them to perfection. I feel like it's best to just embrace our flaws and showcase ourselves how we are, and I think that makes them more authentic, and it makes people want to connect with them even on a more personal level. So, yeah.
Thank you. I can't believe we're still having this conversation in 2025, but we were discussing this in, the green room, is that women in entertainment and women in the creative industry are still faced with scrutiny that their male counterparts are not. As women in this industry, how do you create spaces that, foster a culture that supports other women, especially coming into the creative industry? And what would you like, in a perfect utopia, the future of the creative industry to look like for women? We'll start with you, Yvette.
I think that we have to build our own networks. I think it has to start there. And I think that we have to carry ourselves and we have to command that respect when we're sitting in that boardroom, and stop asking permission for it. And yes, that's a lot harder to do than said, but it can be done. And then reaching back and creating alliances. It's no different than building a brand or helping to create a star. It's strategic. So, you meet people on a panel and you create a relationship with them and you build your networks. And we as women have to stop crabs in a barrel syndrome and start helping each other. I've mentored a lot of women. A lot of my interns are now CEOs or chairmen of company throughout my 30-year career, and I've always had that because I had powerful women taking interest in me and helping me and shaping me through my career that I'm super, super, super grateful for. So I try to give back and do the same. And if the more of us do that, just imagine how we can lift up women to succeed.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Gayaki, in the music industry, how do you think there could be more support for women in the entertainment industry?
I think it's just holding hands because I believe women have so much power and we have the source. And if we hold each other's hands and then we do this together, we're always going to win. There's this Akan phrase that says when you put a lot of brooms together and you try to break it, it's not easy to break, but when you just take one out of the lot, it's very easy to break. So it's always about holding hands. Instead of finding yourselves as competition, you can learn. One thing about me, I always learn a lot from my peers and from the older generation, even the generation that's coming. I could see a new female artist, I'll listen to her songs, I'll watch her interviews, I'll watch her shows, and I'm not looking at her as, oh my God, there's a new girl that's about to take my place. No, I learn from it, I pick a lot. Sometimes I even go to their events randomly because I want to enjoy and see, and if I even get to speak to them, I do that. So everything boils down to holding hands and, like she said, networking, connecting, and we will always win if we do that.
Zozi, we are seeing more African women, take to modeling on international levels, like we've never seen before. How do we ensure that we support those women and ensure that it's not like we were speaking with my Yvonne, that it's not one of one, but it's one of many?
I think the most important thing to consider is when we move in groups and in collectives, a lot of great things happen, and they happen faster. It has never helped anyone to work in silos. And whenever we speak about women working together and the challenges that they have, I always say, let's look at the base and the root of why it is that we are here, why it is that sometimes women feel like they can't work together and support each other. It's because of us living in this patriarchal world that has been created for us and saying there's only one space for one woman. If you're going to an interview or whatever it is that you're doing, if you see one other woman, then you just feel like, oh, it's over for me. And that, in turn, has really made women maybe feel like they have to stand for themselves and not want to open doors for other women. But I'm really here to say today that working in silos has never helped anyone. If you are working, thank you, whether it's in parallel, whether you're working up, whether you're working down, as long as it is with other people through collaborations, through conversations, I think we can get to go very, very far.
Working in silos has never worked for anybody. Sure. Everybody needs to take that out. Absolutely. So collaboration is key.
Collaboration is key, absolutely.
Amanda, when we look at, in photography, especially in that industry, it has been historically quite male-dominated. So coming into it and, being surrounded just by male counterparts, how do you find, that pressure of not being one of one, but being one of many has been placed on your shoulders?
Yeah. When I first started off, I was really, I really loved photography, but I never really saw any role models. I didn't have any role models to look up to. Women that were black and photographers that were women as well. So it was really isolating at first, but right now I do a lot of mentorships. I mentor a lot of young creatives, not just photographers, to show them how to navigate through the creative industry. And I also teach them business principles as well, because it's not just about learning how to take a good picture or being really good at your craft. It's also learning about how to make that into a business and make it profitable as well. And as everyone on the panel has rightfully said, we can't work alone. Community is so important. As human beings, we need community. We need each other, whether we like it or not. So it's really important to have like-minded people around you. And through my mentorship, lots of them stay around. We go to events together. We shoot together, and we have that community aspect, which is really important. So, yeah.
At the risk of sounding cliche as our last departing, thought, I was thinking about the creative economy, and you immediately go to music. So I was thinking to myself, what is that one song that gets you guys out of bed and allows you to look in the mirror and be like, today I'm gonna kick butt. That's it, that's all that's going to happen. And I want everybody in the crowd to think about it. But I want to hear from you ladies, what is that one song that gets you out of bed and says, yeah, I am a boss, for sure?
Mine is Mary J. Blige, no more drama. I'm not having any more drama today.
As a talent manager, I think that is on point. Yeah. Amanda?
For me, it's Katy Perry, Raw.
Very apt, extremely apt. Gaiki, if you choose your own song, I completely understand.
I'm not going to choose my song. I think I really love reggae, so any Bob Marley song just works for me. The moment I hear reggae, I just know that yes, it's time to get on my groove, it's time to go and hustle. So any Bob Marley song does it for me.
I think anybody who finds Gaiki in the foyer to start playing reggae and start dancing with her, I think it'll be a win. Zosie?
Yeah. So I'm a Lauryn Hill girl through and through. I love her music. But I feel like I would be crazy having Yvette here and not saying push to start, Tyler. Yeah. And there's a new song out. Are you insane? With Sean Paul.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you ladies so much for joining us and, being such pioneers in the creative economy. We can see that the creative economy is booming and it's growing, and it's because of phenomenal people like yourselves. Thank you ladies so much.
Thank you so much for having.